So I'm kind of in the Modern Horizons 3 waiting room right now while I have all these deck lists that I'm super excited to play that I'm just waiting just a touch longer to start messing around with. But in the meantime, let's play some memes. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. And Matthew gave me a dealer's choice donation deck list with a little tagline like, hey, maybe if you play something with a meme, I might enjoy that a little bit more. So we are actually going to play a deck that I think I've played against already on the channel. Time's a little weird, and I'm going to be kind of moving videos around a little bit to get some early release Modern Horizons 3 stuff out before this video airs in all likelihood. But we're going to be playing Through the Breach today. You can put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. It gets haste, but you sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Through the Breach has been kind of a serious contender in some other formats, but it's kind of just been fringe at best in Legacy for most of the time that I have been playing Legacy. There was a 2 or 3 week period, probably better part of 10 years ago now, where a mono-red sneak attack deck list did see some amount of success on the SCG circuit, and Through the Breach was one of the things that you were doing there. And, you just kind of played something powerful very, very quickly. I think the builds back then were on Blood Moon. We didn't have the One Ring yet, and the average creature quality was perhaps a little lower than it is now. So if you kind of take a look at the curve here, the curve basically starts at 3 in this deck. So we do have a decent amount of acceleration with our 8 soul lands and these 8 mana accelerators here, but even then, we're not necessarily always just going to do the thing on turn 1. Seething Song can serve as a bridge to get us to sneak attack plus activate or Through the Breach instantly in 1 turn. But something to keep in mind here is that a single sneak attack or Through the Breach might not ultimately win the game. Emrakul is 15 damage. You take out 6 permanents on the way, that's probably winning. So Archon enters, deals 3, attacks, deals 3, deals 6 from its own damage. That's only 12. Sometimes you are going to need more than one activation here, and Atraxa is great in that regards, as it can allow you to refuel, and Ghalta can let you put some extra things onto the battlefield, which is particularly good if you have Through the Breach and not Sneak Attack. You Through the Breach the Ghalta, and then you put something else in, and it's probably going to be lethal. Speaking of lethal, sometimes Oliphant is going to be a legit threat in this deck. While you might not be excited to Through the Breach it, sneak attacking it in, or putting it in with a Ghalta trigger, is pretty legit. Otherwise, we kind of have Defense Grid and Trinisphere as early plays to kind of set it up so that we don't just lose to a counterspell, and the One Ring is our way to refuel. Sideboard is incredibly targeted here. Removal for creatures, anti-combo things, and 1 Palantir to round things out. So yeah, why don't we go ahead and jump into the matches here. Should you find yourself needing some Modern Horizons 3 cards, and you probably will, check out toamagic.com. Tales of Adventure is an awesome store. They give you free shipping, which is a pretty big deal. That might save you $5 to $10, depending on where exactly you are at and how much stuff you are ordering. And they also just have a ton of stuff in stock at any given time, including sweet things like Dual Land and Power. Let's battle. Okay, I think this hand is a little slow. I can do a turn 3 the One Ring as the best play that I am capable of doing. I don't think I'm excited about that. I think we can just find a better hand. Okay, so this is Mountain Pass, City of Traders, Spirit Guide, the One Ring, start drawing cards, and hope to get 2 Through the Breach. Or I guess we can already get 2 Through the Breach if I play City of Traders. The hand is going to be a keep. I'm going to assume that it is easier to draw another mana source than it is to draw another creature. Basic Forest. Sure. It is another Through the Breach. You got it. We could be playing against a Cloud Post deck. We could be playing against a green-white, like, Reclaimer, like Knight of the Reliquary Depths deck. I mean, we know what we're here to do. We're here to draw cards. I am definitely a little scared here, as a 2020 is coming in my future, and an Archon of Cruelty might not be enough to stop it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Kind of feels like I'm just dead. Don't love that. Okay. So I'm not dead. That's the good news. So I'm going to Seething Song. I had a better way to do this shit. No, I didn't. I can't. Yeah, because I can't do this in a way that allows me to get rid of both creatures, because the Archon would need to attack. So we are going to go ahead and put in Ghalta. Ghalta is going to let me put in Archon of Cruelty. Archon of Cruelty increases my life total. I'm going to sacrifice Ghalta at the beginning of my next end step. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and hit in here. This is not going to actually accomplish any damage. My opponent is just going to block it. But now I've set myself up so that I survive the Merit Lage hit, and then can attack and kill it if my opponent does not produce another creature. If they do produce another creature, I hope that I can through the breach and do something meaningful. Ancient Tomb, 22 life is a little awkward. Fuck. Double fuck. Oh no. Well, that was disastrous. Alright. Draw some cards. Oh, I guess the One Ring going to 2 counters was also a problem. I have 3 mana here. That doesn't get me to sneak attack. Sneak attack, this doesn't kill anyway. Rough. We just did not outspeed my opponent here. And if memory serves, I don't really have the best sideboard options here. Defense Grid and Trinisphere aren't exactly the best. Fury, Fiery Confluence, Palantir also aren't really the best either. I can keep Defense Grid and Trinisphere to help Swords to Plowshares not disrupt a sneak attack on my own turn. I think I am going to junk Trinispheres and play Furies just as another thing that I can physically sneak attacker through the breach in for points of damage. I'm unsure on Defense Grid. I am not the most excited about it. Sometimes it's going to be good. I think I am just going to opt for more things that deal damage. This does not feel like a great matchup, especially considering that my opponent might just have access to a tutorable Karakas or something that can bounce a majority of my threats. I mean, this just plays the One Ring on turn 1. I assume that if I do that, I will find something else reasonable to do with the remainder of this game. Alright, opponent did keep on 7. Let's cast our ring. That does cost me the Spirit Guide and the Petal. We'll just kind of immediately start drawing cards. And we'll hope to find some sort of sneak attack through the breach type card to do something cool with this Archon. This start feels fast enough to keep up with what my opponent can do. I don't mind the Wasteland when I have the One Ring, although it is a generally annoying card. It does slow me down a lot. Oh, I absolutely do not mind Yavimaya. That might end up saving me a decent amount of life this game. That's a Fury. I mean, yeah. I guess I'll play this out. I will take the 2 here, I think. So Seething Song into actually just cast Fury. I don't imagine that my opponent will sacrifice that land. That's a really big tempo blow to do so. And I just have something in play that is going to whack my opponent for 6 each turn cycle. I've got a Shatter Skull Smashing for that, assuming I can get another active red source. Yeah, no, eat 6. I don't have a valid play this turn. My Lotus Petals are currently off. Green Sun, presumably for a Reclaimer. Real good with Flagstones. That's fine. Like, the Ancient Tomb has text here, but this is not the end of the world. I'll take my 2. The damage from the One Ring is really adding up. Spirit Guide is fine. I guess I Shatter Skull Smashing pre-combat. And I think it is on the oof. Alright. This frees the One Ring. Ooh. I think I just attempt to kill next turn with sneak attack rather than Fury the Reclaimer right now. Opponent goes to 8, and I'll pass the turn. Love my opponent paying mana for that. That just makes it much less likely that my sneak attack is not going to kill my opponent. Another Elvish Reclaimer. Wasteland's very good. Ooh, they are wastelanding their own land to grow Elvish Reclaimer. So that I take 3. I'm taking some damage from the One Ring. That's not that big of a deal. So 1, 2, or let's do 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Activate. Probably activate again. Yeah. Green, red. 2 other colors. Red. Activate sneak attack. Put in Archon. You sacrifice this. I gain some life. You'd sacrifice a creature. I'd draw some cards. Activate sneak attack again. Put in another Archon. Stabilized at 1 there. Definitely scary. My hand can put in a Ghalta and attack for 12 on turn 1 while also putting in a Fury. That seems perfectly fine. What you got? Just passing the turn. If my opponent just passes the turn, I could just through the breach at their end step instead, so that Swords to Plowshares is less good against what I am doing. But if my opponent wastelands my Ancient Tomb that I play out, that's actually incredibly awkward. I think I want to get value out of this Fury. Maybe I just do Mountain Pass, wait a turn, let them like Green Sun for a Reclaimer or whatever, and then do my thing. Maybe I'm playing scared here, but it does not feel correct to just yeet my creatures directly into Swords to Plowshares and leave myself in an awkward position. Sure. 3 mana now? Well, shit. Alright. The Through the Breach is now off the table. I can still just Fury that creature out of the way, and that's perfectly fine. So, yeah. Go up to 5. Cast Fury. Kill Teague. This is already in graveyard. Unless you have 2. Okay, I guess you could get Caracas and bounce it. Alright, it is crop rotation. Alright, it is going to be Caracas. That's fine. Fury still just kills in 3 attack steps. My opponent is at 18. They have fetched twice, and that 2 damage matters a lot. And if my opponent is, dedicating all of their resources to keeping Teague alive, maybe we can do some other cool stuff. Alright, Teague's back. Fiery Confluence is real good if Teague does leave play. Send it? Fantastic. Opponent's at 12. This is a threat. Just an extra body in play right now is pretty important. That's currently fine. Makes my Lotus Petal slightly worse. The Lotus Petal is much worse. My opponent loses their Mox Diamond there, though. So I am A-okay with just continuing to crash in with these creatures. My opponent is trying to play this Hate Bear game here. Oh, okay, cool. So I trade. Collector Oof is gone. I'm going to play a Lotus Petal. Don't know that I need to play City of Traders this turn. I don't think I do. So the cool thing here is that if my opponent takes this Teague out of play, for example, by blocking and then bouncing, I do just get to Fiery Confluence my opponent's face for 6 points of damage and end this game. That's real good. So there's a whole bunch of ways to do this that all probably lead to victory. I think I like Pitch, Cast, Fury, 2 damage on Teague, 1 damage on Reclaimer. Opponent bounces their Teague, and then I just Fiery Confluence their face post-combat. I can also just hard cast the Fury and straight up take out this creature, force the Teague out of play, and then Fiery Confluence the face anyway. I guess that's better. Alright, but I don't have mana to do both. Let's do the Pitch Cast line. So 2 to Teague, 2 here. All right, we've got a response. Ooh, it's an Echoing Deeps. Targeting Gaddock here. So that now gains protection from red until the end of turn. That's a reason to not have done the line that I did. Now I don't have an extra Fury in play. So now this is pro-red, so this attack doesn't do anything. I'm going to pass the turn here. I'm not in a great position. That was not a card that I had considered. That one's still new enough that I'm not used to playing around it. That's scary. My opponent might swing this game back. Yeah, I'll take that hit. Yeah, I'll cast this, I guess. It makes my Fury quite scary. Gives it trample. Knight of the Reliquary can start amassing cards like Maze of Ith, though, that make combat pretty tricky. I'm going to have... Ooh, that's a 2020. So I am just objectively dead. Unless my opponent makes some error, I think. Alright, so Fury gets big. And we see the Elvish Reclaimer activation. Or presumably Dark Depths. My opponent makes a 2020. That 2020 can block Fury. Knight of the Reliquary can block Oliphant. Yeah, that'll do. I've got the Lethal Burn in hand, but I can't use it. GG's? Do I win that one still if I play around Echoing Deeps? I just put the Fury into play. I just kill Elvish Reclaimer. I attack in for 6. Or, well, I try to kill Elvish Reclaimer. It doesn't work. I have 2 bodies in. Neither Reliquary is such a good blocker still. And my opponent's top deck was great. Even if it wasn't, Knight can still 2-drop some maze or something. Yeah, maybe I don't. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and honestly, they're just the best at what they do. If you need to keep your deck lists online, this is the way to do it. They have all sorts of different viewing options. You can condense that text if you like things to be tight. You can make them visual grids. You can put them in stacks. You've got all sorts of different ways to kind of view and visualize your deck lists, and they also have some really cool functionality, like allowing you to see playtest hands and even fully playtest your decks. So check them out. All right. My hand has 2 mana, no persistent mana. That is not going to do it over here. I don't like this hand either. It just has no guarantee of actually being able to play Magic. We'll go to 5 rather than keep this one. Well, the 5-card hand honestly looks pretty good. I keep these 5. Again, no guarantee that I actually get to play Magic. But I think this gives me a reasonable chance at stopping an opposing piece of disruption, like a Force of Will or Daze, while like having a very live draw for a kill. If you sneak attack an Atraxa in, there's a decent chance that you find a Lotus Petal or Spirit Guide plus another creature to represent a kill in a single turn. All right, I'm glad we have Defense Grid. Oh, cool. Not Underground Sea. And that was a fast shuffle. Yeah, I like how this is looking. All right, it is a Daze. It still does its job of getting a counterspell out of the way, though. So that's good. I am 100% in for just transferring my opponent here. It's a little awkward if I eat a Wasteland, but otherwise, like, what does my opponent have if not counterspells in this position, right? Like, they did not play out a threat. I did not get griefed. So counterspells are just the most likely thing that is in my opponent's hand. I naturally play around Daze on this Trinisphere. And if this resolves, most cards other than Wasteland that my opponent has are probably dead. That's not Wasteland. Cool. So we know that Sneak Attack currently resolves, so I will go ahead and play it. And then next turn, hopefully I kill. There is the 3rd land drop. We knew about that island. There's a Douthie Voidwalker. That is a little awkward with Sneak Attack. I am going to believe in Atraxa here. Yeah. So we will take Emrakul as the creature. Artifact, land, instant. Done. Sneak Attack. Activate. Emrakul. Combat. Annihilate 6, you have no permanence, and we get our kill. And this is what I mean about Atraxa, like hitting play through a sneak attack, usually resulting in a kill. I could miss there. I sacrifice Atraxa end of turn, Atraxa goes under Dauthi Voidwalker, and I just accidentally lose the game. But that didn't happen. So, how do I want to sideboard? It looks like we are playing against the Riskaminator build that is tooled for the mirror, which means that the Dauthi Voidwalkers are in the main deck, and some of the other creatures, some amount of like Bowmasters, Murktide Regents, things like that, are in the sideboard. I can approach this in a way where I try to shut off their graveyard. I can approach this in a way where I try to shut off their fair creatures, or I can just whack the submit button and play the main deck again, and just try to focus on beating the counter spells. I think I'm going to try to beat the counter spells. Maybe this is a play draw thing where for this game when I'm on the draw, I go with the fairies, and the game when I'm on the play, I just jam. I have a medium opening hand here. It's just basically fully reliant on this sneak attack. I have no way to protect it at all. I think a Trinisphere or a defense grid matters a lot, especially when I am on the draw. This is turn 2, the one ring around days. It's okay. I'm not super excited about the double Ancient Tomb hand. I think I'm going to keep this one rather than mulligan deeper. If I were to draw something like a defense grid, I also just do have the possibility of turn 2 just jam through the breach. We've got a Ponder, so I'm not losing any cards immediately, which is great. Emrakul. All right, I am going to play the Lotus Petal out this turn and pass. Wasteland pretty good against my current hand configuration. Yeah, there we go. You got it. Oops, all Ancient Tombs. Do we have an Animate Dead? We have a Powder Keg, sure. Why is Powder Keg coming in? I mean, like, it blows up my Lotus Petal here and is relevant, but, like, what are they hoping to accomplish with that? I'm going to offer this up to a Daze, so that a Through the Breach later would not be dazed. Yep, that's fine. Troll is fine. If you don't produce a threat, I think this is going to increasingly favor me. Okay. That takes the one good card from my hand. Now I'm going to need to draw both a red source and something to do with it. Defense grid is a little late to the party here, but it is in play. Opponent needs to produce a threat. I am in trouble very, very, very quickly if they can produce a threat. Yeah, that's fine. There's the threat they need. They're doing that on their own turn because of defense grid. I am going to go ahead and put the City of Traders into play. That way, if I top deck a red source, I can immediately play Sneak Attack for 2 less life. Thank you, deck. Surveil throws a land into the graveyard. I don't have a lot of time. The Brazen Borrower will kill me. So Counterspell is live currently. I think I am interested in doing this like so. Exile this 4 red. Play Seething Song with City of Traders to play around Soft Permission. Tap this. We sneak attack, leaving open multiple red mana. We are playing around all the Soft Permission. We are not playing around a Force of Will, unfortunately. And Hydroblast as well. I think this unfortunately means that I'm dead. I go down to 5. I draw a red source. I go down to 2. Yeah, I can't really win from here. I will go ahead and concede. Okay, well, I guess the one ring buys me turn. I go to 3. I draw some cards. I probably don't win from that life total. Let's take a look at the... No. Okay. I think I need to resolve like one spell to win. I think this defense grid Trinisphere way of playing the game is still what I want to be doing. So this has the right cards, but incredibly unstable mana, even counting Oliphant here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just mulligan this one away. Second hand does not have enough mana. I'm going to 5. Yeah, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something approximating this is appropriate. Do I want to keep Spirit Guide and just jam on turn 2? I think I'd rather have the persistent lands. I think we can assume that something is going to go wrong at some stage of this game. Alright, we did not immediately eat Grief Reanimate, which is fantastic. Got an end of turn troll. Do we have an immediate animate dead? We do not have an immediate animate dead. I think I'm just going to make a mountain as my land and pass the turn. This is fine. So opponent did not shuffle and then is immediately casting another ponder. This could be an indication that they are trying to fill up their graveyard for something like a Marktide Regent. Seems likely. Interesting. They did not stack their ponder in a way where they wanted to surveil something away. So I think this is wait till the end of my opponent's turn, cast through the breach around days, and then sneak attack on my own turn. It gets a little weird if my opponent has Wasteland. Just more cantrips. If my opponent has Reanimate, my opponent goes Grief, take Atraxa, Reanimate Atraxa, I'm in a terrible spot. So I could cast through the breach here and put my Atraxa in play so that my Atraxa cannot be reanimated in this turn cycle. That's really not how I wanted to play this, but I think that's what's happening. So there's the days. We were already prepared for that. Can you fight further? You can. This is bad. So I've lost the sneak attack. Opponent reanimates troll. I don't know. I don't think troll was the choice there. I think you take Grief to get this Atraxa out of my hand, or you take my Atraxa, reanimate the Atraxa, and then just totally refuel. I don't think troll is the choice. It might be good enough to win, but it does not feel like the best option from this side of the table. I take 6. Like, I will just die to it if I don't top deck anything relevant. That's fine. My opponent also just pitched an animate dead there. This all may be moot if my opponent just has, like, Force of Will blue card left. Well, I mean, show me your other counterspell. They showed me their other counterspell. I am dead. Okay, so I don't really have anything good with my mana other than hardcast a 6/4 Trampler. I don't think I am going to keep this hand. I think I can just do better. This has a ton of mana, no way to do anything with this Emrakul. We're gonna fish harder than this. Oh my gosh. So this is probably the 5. I'm going to think for a second about whether Lotus Petal is better than another mountain. Stability versus speed. I think I'm going to keep speed. I don't know. The Emrakul might not end the game on its own. I have changed my mind. Another basic forest. Sure. All right. We'll pass the turn. I've got cycling. I am setting up for an Emrakul board wipe. Probably won't literally kill my opponent. We are hoping our opponent is not a blue deck and that they are just some mid-rangey deck. That's annoying. That is going to slow me down an entire turn cycle. But the upside here is that my spells are just going to resolve. Ghalta. That's a great draw. We can through... The Caracas is potentially annoying depending on whether or not it is left up. Always yield to that. 17. Opponent is in black as well. Sure. This has gotten a lot scarier because this now represents things like Maze of Ith as well. Atraxa is a solid pickup. I think I'm just going to get Wastelanded into Oblivion, though. Like, I just imagine that's what this is. Yeah. Alright. Yeah. You got it. Thalia is the ring bearer, and I'm going to take 3 in combat here. Dropping to 14. Sure. Yeah, so I need my opponent to choose not to wasteland me and tap Caracas. I was feeling really good about this one after the Forest Noble Hierarch opener, and now I don't really know how I win. My opponent has chosen to wasteland me. I think I'm just gonna save my own time here. The writing is on the wall. So the defense grid and Trinisphere stuff is not particularly strong in this matchup. We're gonna board in things that remove creatures. I'll fill with 1 Trinisphere. I do not have persistent mana here. I have mana here and nothing to do with it. Having 0 selection in my deck is rough. Oh my god. Or I guess I am keeping mana and a Fiery Confluence. My faith is broken in this deck. We are on track for the 0-4 drop, which I would prefer not to do. But I don't really think I am supposed to keep hands that don't have either A plus B or the 1 ring. Yeah, do your thing. Like, maybe we can Fiery Confluence wipe the board and put up a win in this game, but that doesn't feel great. I guess for Thalia type effects, I'll play out the Lotus Petal now. Do you have another Lush Portico or equivalent? No. Little Dryad Harbor, which I am happy they fetched. United of the Reliquary style creature is already going to be outside of range of the 3 damage of Fiery Confluence, though. All 3 colors of mana now online. Yeah, so there's the Knight of the Reliquary that I can't just immediately kill. Extra mana. I can kill Dryad Arbor. I could send 6 damage to face. I think I'm just going to play Lotus Petal and pass. I think I want to leave myself with access to 5 mana in case I do end up drawing through the Breach. Hierarch is fine. That doesn't really change things. Anything that incentivizes this knight to attack is probably good for me. The Wasteland is currently irrelevant. And no attacks. There is an Oliphant. I guess I'm keeping that in hand for Ghalta purposes. Do I want to attempt to kill both of these small creatures with Fiery Confluence at this point? It takes me off of Through the Breach if I do. I think I accept that. Let's deal 1 damage to each creature and 4 damage to my opponent. This actually only really kills Noble Heart because my opponent just rotates away Dryad Arbor. I'm going to pass the turn. Lush Portico has gone away. Oh, picking up Horizon Canopy. Sure. And then Samwise to bring it back. Oh, that's mighty cute. And then Samwise is the Ring Bearer. Thalia is legitimately annoying. That takes me off of Through the Breach as a potential top deck. Now I probably Fiery Confluence the board for 1 damage to creatures and attempt to clear out 4 things. Alright, opponent still holding up Knight. I'll take 3. More Oliphant. So I probably need to turn one of these into a land. And maybe, I don't know, I think I hold it until I draw the second one there. 1 damage to each creature, 4 damage to each opponent. Going down both my Lotus Petals here. Knight can do some disgusting things in response with like Caracas bounce Samwise, or bounce Thalia, or not. So what's the plan now? Just hit me twice with Knight. Did not rotate away Scrubland, which seems like a potentially big deal because 8-16-24 versus 9-18 takes an entire turn off the clock. All right, there's another fetch land, so the clock does not change. Or the clock does change, rather, but does not change based on the decision that they made. Green Sun for 2 gets Teague. Gets Fiend Artisan, sure. I'll take 9. I am dead on board. I draw Through the Breach, which I cannot cast. If I had cycled an Oliphant at the end of the turn like 2 turns ago, I could cast this, put in this, It's not a lethal attack. This does not have haste. I have a 6/4 in play and probably still lose from there. We made a valiant effort for a mull to 4, though. GG's. Alright, my hand has no ability to cast spells beyond Defense Grid here. I don't have any way to do anything with these. I don't have a way to get the One Ring into play. This is no good. I mean, we have A plus B plus some mana here. I think I'm going to pitch one of the Lotus Petals and hope that I find additional mana here. I think there's so much blue in this metagame right now that just keeping the Trinosphere as a way to make it so that this is more likely to resolve matters a lot. My Trinosphere is probably not good. My opponent says Hope Chalice is good. Joke's on you. It's not. So, in case another Chalice comes about, I am going to Lotus Petal here. Pass the turn. I'm not going to use this Lotus Petal for Trinosphere unless things get real weird, which it doesn't look like they're getting real weird. I would like to draw a Soul Land. Soul Land gets me to Through the Breach instantly. Through the Breach for Ghalta, putting in Atraxa and Emrakul at the same time probably wins this game. So it's just a question of, do I find the Soul Land before my opponent puts enough power into play to just literally kill me? Seems like my opponent is going to loot away stuff to get some extra land. Ancient Tomb is probably not what they're looking for. Unless they have the One Ring. Yeah, okay. That's pretty good here, but they are on 12 life with multiple Ancient Tombs. That does mean just like a Through the Breach for Emrakul is lethal. Seething Song. I am debating whether, what I want to do with the Seething Song Through the Breach in terms of timing. I think since I have not made a land drop this turn, I am going to go ahead and just Seething Song Through the Breach immediately so that I can set up to play something better next turn. Put Ghalta into play. Ghalta puts Emrakul Atraxa into play. That gets me Sneak Attack, Through the Breach, a new Atraxa, a land, and an artifact. Ancient Tomb. Go to Punchies since this is dying anyway. Send in for Punchies. Oh, my opponent's at 12 life. They're dead. Oh no, wait, the ring. And my opponent has conceded here. Not that they are dead to this damage, but giant lifelinker plus Annihilate 6 coming the next turn with my opponent under these constraints is just a little bit too much. So we immediately know, as does my opponent, that we want to sideboard out our lock pieces and sideboard in things that help with fair stuff. Trinosphere and Defense Grid are both pretty actively bad. I could see boarding one Mindbreak Trap. It would not be good unless it was the best thing ever. Sometimes there's these like Lotus Petal Chrome Mox starts and you can just snipe a relevant card with a Mindbreak Trap. Defense Grid can stop a dead gone bounce, which is sometimes relevant. I think I'm more likely to want to Through the Breach on an end step or something. On the draw, I'm going to play one cheeky Mindbreak Trap. I like Fury. I like Fury a whole lot in this matchup, but I do not have the ability to hardcast Fury. I only have 2 lands, and one way or another I end up going down 2 cards for Fury. I think I can just do better. Keep and Believe? I think I'm going to Keep and Believe, get rid of the One Ring. Sure. We're looking to draw lands and Oliphants. You got the One Ring? Okay, I mean, that's fine. The One Ring doesn't immediately start killing me, which is good. I mean, that's an Oliphant, that's fine. This is a slower start on my side than I otherwise might have liked. But the good news here is that my opponent is likely to put themselves below 12 life, meaning that a Sneak Attack or Through the Breach for Ghalta is just good enough to be lethal. I don't know if my opponent is going to be playing any sort of Pithing Needle type card. Sorcerous Spyglass isn't crazy out of the sideboard, but is not at all common. Blood Moon is fine. Blood Moon here is probably better for stabilizing my opponent's life total than it is at stopping me from doing anything. Sure. Note that if I had the Mindbreak Trap right now, whatever spell they cast next would be live. They did not cast another spell, but they did choose to Chrome Mox. Yeah, no, we're just passing the turn here. Opponent's life total keeps ticking down. Their Ancient Tombs aren't hurting them anymore. They have a lot of cards, and I just need mana. I need mana before, like, Double Broadside or something comes down. Yeah, sure, that's fine. Furying their fury is not the most exciting thing in the world. Okay, so Ghalta's already lethal. I think I keep another fury. Fire Confluence can go to the face for 6, so if they take 3 plus 4, that's 7. Plus 6, like, Fire Confluence also is just a way to kill my opponent. I think I am accordingly getting rid of Through the Breach to just keep my life total higher. So Fury the Fury. Opponent loses 3. They could play a new 1 ring to take this self-damage out of play. Fiery Confluence to the Dome is looking real good. It is a new 1 ring. Opponent has 10 cards in hand. My opponent has just said, where the fuck are my creatures? With my lands. That's where they're at. Sure. Spirit Guide to Exile. Or a Scarab Swarm. Yeah, you got it. It's a 1/1. So they, I guess, should have... Oh, they played a new 1 ring, so they can't target themselves. That's very funny. I'm not going to Fiery Confluence, or sorry, I'm not going to Fury a 1/1. No damage from the 1 ring, as no cards have been drawn. Alright, the 1 ring is drawing cards again. Just a land. We have, like, dodged all of the broadside type threats, which is quite frankly insane. There is a Spirit Guide. I will go ahead and put a Sneak Attack into play, and we'll get our opponent next turn. And alternatively, I can just Fiery Confluence my opponent's Dome, and that may very well get us there as well. There could be some Dead Gone type cards in my opponent's hand. Rabble Master is fine. Rabble Master still fine. Fable of the Mirrorbreaker, fine. I am absolutely going to do some crimes with Fury. I will take 3 points of damage, but I still have 16 life. So, yeah. Sneak Attack. I want these creatures to have haste. I'm not going to put them in with Ghalta's ability. We have gotten the GGs from the opponent here. Yeah, so I can give all 3 of these creatures haste, fury, wipe the board as well. That was one of the stranger games that I have played in recent memory, and we did not 0-4 drop. Okay, turn 1 mountain, cycle this. This is going to be a keep. I might change play patterns a little bit depending on what I see on the other side of the table. All right. I expect that I am losing one of these 2 cards. My opponent is combo and can race me. They could potentially just take Lotus Petal. Yeah, I've lost the 1 ring. Ooh, a new Sneak Attack. I do not mind that at all. I guess I'll play out the Lotus Petal now. Shouldn't really matter in all likelihood. I could do this on my own turn to play around Stifle, but then it's in the graveyard for something like Reanimate. I'm going to Mountain Cycle this in response. I think I always want the land. I don't think I am immediately jamming Sneak Attack. I think I'm playing around Daze. I have lost my creature. We could be playing against a Stoneblade deck. We could be playing against some sort of like Cephalid Breakfast combo deck list. Sneak Attack now plays around Daze, but would make my mana very awkward. I think I am just going to pass the turn. I don't think I want to assume that my thing... Okay, it is Stoneforge Mystic. I don't think I want to assume that my stuff is just going to resolve. Opponent's got a Cauldra, which can do a pretty good job at racing a lot of my stuff. Let's Sneak Attack like this. My opponent dazes, I just pay, and that's perfectly fine. All right, Sneak Attack is in play. Now we just need to draw the big thing. We'll have 4 turns. 3 turns if things get a little saucy. But it's probably the 5, 10, 15, 20 of Cauldra. And the Stoneforge Mystic is not another 5 damage, so... Opponent gets rid of swords, which is fair. That's a pretty borderline card right now. They also could just have another already. The issue is swords does not answer some stuff like Emrakul, whereas it's like sort of awkward versus something like Atraxa. Through the breach, not doing anything. In case we get weird for some reason, I'm going to put a second Sneak Attack into play. It's not like I can really loot it away or anything. And now, what does my opponent want to find? A Caracas would probably be super cool for them if that's a card in their deck. So, my opponent can dump a whole bunch of mana into Lion Sash to shorten the clock. They are making a mistake here, and they are doing this in the Declare Attackers step rather than the Declare Blockers step. So my opponent is going to tap out, and then I am going to put a creature in front of Lion Sash and save 5 life. Yup. Boop. Now, I still need a live draw, but I saved 5 life. Lotus Petal, I'm dead. That is most unfortunate. GG. So now we're in this weird spot where I kind of need both Trinisphere and Defense Grid. And the Furies are pretty reasonable for Stoneforge Mystics. It feels like, on average, putting this stuff in play ends up beating my opponent's Stoneforge Mystic deck. I think on the play, I'm going to jam, and on the draw, I am going to become more reactive. Do not have mana. Mulligan. Have mana keep? I mean, it's a keep. It's just like what goes back. I think it's the Spirit Guide. And I just, count on my deck, which is roughly 50% mana, to actually give me mana 50% of the time. That's reasonable, right? One would hope that's reasonable. Thoughtseize is fine. My hand is pretty redundant to that effect. Yep, okay, that makes sense. Well, yes. Yes, I think I will. So my opponent can daze this, but they can't daze the spell that would come after this one. I'm going to go ahead and jam the 1 ring here. We eat Force of Negation, pitching Force of Negation. That's probably an indication that my opponent's hand is kind of light on blue cards, as Force of Negation is a premium card in this matchup. So I should probably think that my opponent's hand has like lands and Stoneforges and stuff like that. They fished Cryptic Coat out of their deck, which may mean that they have another Force of Will or Force of Negation, and they needed a blue card to pitch to it. Or alternatively, they just have some of the good equipment in hand already. Yep, okay, I had the right read on the situation. I'm going to jam anyway. And now the hope is that they just didn't naturally have Cauldra in hand, but it is really something that it makes sense for my opponent to have had in hand. Oh, we lucked out. Nice. 15. Now we are just purely... Damn it. Surgical Extraction on Sneak Attack is going to make this game very hard to win. I need a Through the Breach now. We'll jam our Defense Grid. Opponent's got Bowmasters. Sure. So we are now going to eat 3 damage per turn cycle. And I need, at a minimum, 2 draw steps to assemble something that is good. I did not board in Furies for this game. I was trying to just jam when I am on the draw. And that might be costly. Opponent is honestly probably just looking for another threat to close out this game. Their counterspells have gotten much worse. A Thoughtseize effect is pretty good still. as it is going to take me 2 cards to do most meaningful things. Got another land. I'll continue to take a beating here. That's more mana. I think if I miss on my next draw step, I am effectively dead. I can't, like, One Ring myself out of this situation with Bowmasters in play. 5. Tapping an Ancient Tomb is lethal. Snapcaster Thoughtseize is very good. This is lethal on board, I believe. And top card is a Trinisphere. That is not going to do it. That was a rough league. We finish at a 1-4. Okay, so we know this one is getting a thumbs down. What felt off here? I felt like I did not have enough keepable opening hands. I think mana plus the One Ring is keepable. I think either Sneak Attack or Through the Breach plus one of these creatures is reasonable, but just like keeping Naked Sneak Attack and mana or Naked Through the Breach and mana did not feel keepable, and similarly keeping this with no way to do anything did not feel keepable either. I am not exactly sure how you rectify that. It also felt like I needed more mana in the deck. So this deck is that approximately 50% mana that we do expect from a deck that is kind of using the Ancient Tomb City of Traders shell. But since the curve is so high for this deck, like you're not stopping at 3 or 4, you are stopping at 5 for Through the Breach. Like you do just physically need more mana. And Seething Song is not an initial mana source. Seething Song only works once you have kind of gotten things going. This one ultimately felt a little bit clunky. I did fish this one out of the 5-0 decklist dumps. So it is capable of doing the thing, but I think its consistency is pretty low, and I like decks that have high consistency. So I'm going to give this one a thumbs down. Folks, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. You need magic cards, toamagic.com is the place to go. And, that's all I got. See ya.